On?
Good evening. Hello, I'm audible. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to CEO Cadet 3.0. I'm Gaurav Gupta, your host and moderator for tonight's event. Shivesh Gupta will be assisting me in the proceedings for today's event. It seems like all of you are very enthusiastic about today's event. Our guest for today is Mr. Zishaan Hayath, the founder and CEO of Toppr. He's a civil engineering graduate of the 2005 batch of IIT Bombay. Zishaan is known for his innovative approach to education and his vision of making high-quality learning accessible to everyone. He has been recognized for his contribution to the Indian startup ecosystem and has received several awards and honors, including being named to Forbes India's 30 under 30 list in 2014. Through his inventivity and perseverance, Mr. Hayath has made learning fun, personalized, and exciting with Toppr, India's most advanced and comprehensive learning app for classes 5th to 12th. The stage is set. Now, I'd like to start this discussion with Mr. Hayath, CEO Connect 3.0. Thank you.
So, welcome back to your alma mater, Zishaan, and thank you for being with us today. Here's how I plan to take our conversation.
Okay.
Firstly, we'll start with your college life. Then, we'll explore the journey of your in the corporate world and the startup world, followed by a segment of informal questions.
Okay.
And firstly, to begin with, and I'm very excited to ask this, that you're fairly active on Instagram with more than 1,000 posts on your feed.
Okay.
Most of which are dominated by food and travel. Any comments on that?
Food and travel. Yeah, it's like random posts. Khana अच्छा दिखा तो post कर दो. You guys don't take food pics?
He is a fan.
Yeah, I am actually quite.
Yeah. I enjoy taking pictures. I used to do a lot of photography earlier. When I was on campus, I used to do a lot of street photography. But with work, all those interests get lesser and lesser time. So now I just do some phone photography.
That's actually pretty amazing. And it also resonates with a lot of people because photography is a very great time pass as well. Not just a time pass, but a really great activity, hobby. Not just food, but several other things. And especially one of your traveling stuff. So I'm sure you must be pretty nostalgic right now. So how does it feel to walk through the industry corridors once again as an accomplished man versus when you were a student rushing for the morning lectures and quizzes?
A lot has changed on the campus actually. Yeah. So let's get a spread of, let's get the mix of students here. So how many first year students? Second? Any third yearites? Any fourth year students? No. So how many of, like, when did campus restart? As in, like, when did 2020 batch didn't come to campus, right? No, 21?
So now all the batches are here.
No, but like, did 21 do their first year here? 21 batch, no, right?
It was a bit delayed. Like
Was
for
delayed.
2020, they came at the end of the second year, and for 2021, it was around end of first year.
Got it. Yeah, so, I mean, when we were on campus, it was very different. The student strength was about 1/4 of your student strength. Even then, we had room sharing and mara-mari for space. I've been told that the campus strength is now 4 times our strength. Obviously, there are newer hostels, but I don't think the capacity has gone up 4x. And it was very different. The infinity corridor was still the same, but much narrower, much lower. आधे जगह से टूटा हुआ तो बारिश. Now I see all the barricades, so गाय वाय आती नहीं होगी अब. पहले गाय आकर बैठ जाती थी, so it was very difficult to walk also. Some things are still the same. Some old buildings I see, they are still the same. Some things are completely new. But yeah.
So One thing that I'm very proud of, that you and I have the same parent hostel, that is Hostel 5. So can you share some notorious moments from your hostel or college life that you distinctly remember?
Yeah, Hostel 5. I mean, if you ask, every hostel will say we were notorious for this, we were notorious for that. I think we were pretty bad PAF partners for H10. H10 refused to, like H10 would always be sad about doing a PAF with H5, but H5 would also win, so they should not be complaining. We were okay in sports. I think H2, H3 used to do a good job at sports back then. Yeah, I'm sure everything has changed now. We were good at PAF. We came close to winning the cultural GC, but didn't top it. Sports GC, no chance. Yeah, it was a mixed bag, I would say. Yeah.
That's actually pretty much, it brings us your memories of your old GCs. We still have it, and yeah, still S2 and S3 are good at sports, I can say. But
Really?
yeah, now the competition has increased a lot. I can say the competition has tremendously increased. All hostels are competing really hard for it. So let's move to a question, like a lot of people in college, they dream about a successful future. They want to have successful future. What did you dream about when you were in their place?
So when I was on campus, I used to just think about, I used to have fun, no doubt, but goal-wise, my only goal was to get a good job. I didn't want to study further, so I had no plans of applying to US universities. I never thought of an MBA, so I didn't prepare for that also. So I did not take the CAT. I didn't think about MBAs in US universities. So I didn't have that on mind. My goal was to get a good job. And so started to focus on job, and I started to define my success also by getting a good job. And in retrospect, when I look at it, I feel like it was such a silly goal. It was so stupid just to think of getting a good job as my goal in my formative years. But I think now the exposure is much higher. You guys not only have 10x more exposure than what we had, but also the avenues are more. You don't have to think about just job as an outcome. So I think it's a different life now. Very different.
And so what's your views on pursuing further studies now?
See, so raise of hands. How many of you want to do an MS? Nobody? How many of you want to do an MBA? How many of you want to work in large companies? How many of you want to work in small companies?
Any company works.
How many of you want to start your own company? Oh, look, see? That's the difference. So, in my time, if you asked how many of you want to do an MS, half the hands would go up. And so basically it was split between MS and a job. Very few people would actually go to IIMs. Some would go, maybe 10% of the class would go to, not even 10, less than 10% of the class would directly go to an IIM. Most, a 30% of the class would apply to US universities and go to US universities for MS and PhD programs. And the rest would just sit through placements and get a job. That 0 people would start up. There was no concept of starting up or starting your own company. So I started IIT in 2000. I finished my dual degree in 2005. The first few startups were in 2006, 7, 5, maybe 1 or 2, 6, 7, few more. Flipkart was 2007. My own company was 2008. So starting up was just becoming a high-risk thing at that point of time. It was not an established thing. It was very hard to explain even to parents why would you quit a job and start a company. And that has completely shifted 17, 18 years later, where a bunch of you think of starting up as a legit option after graduating. So obviously it has changed a lot. Regarding your question, what do you think about further studies? See, the thing is, when you come here to IIT, you come here as a schoolboy or a schoolgirl, right? Like you're 17, 18 years old, you've just finished your 12th grade, you've come here, and suddenly this explosion of worldview happens, right? Like till you were in school, you were like this 1 in 60 or whatever, 1 in 200 if you include 4 sections, and you had limited view, you had no competition, you had like 3 kids to beat to top your school, so it was easy, or it was limited. And then you come here, then you see that there are kids from all over India, there are kids from other states, there are kids from other languages, there are kids from other cultures, food habits different, kabhi mazak banate ho, kabhi impress hote ho, and you see that everyone is talented and everyone is equally smart. And you realize that so basically in your IIT years you build this muscle, or like you just grow yourself, right? Like you grow yourself in appreciating a wider audience, competing with an equally talented person or sometimes more talented people. So I think these 3-4 years, you just build muscle, right? When you exit IIT, you will be a completely different person from how you entered. You entered like a schoolboy and schoolgirl, and then you exit like a man or a woman, right? And it's a complete transformation that will happen in 3-4 years. There is another transformation that will happen once you start working, right? When you exit, you will be 21, 22 years old. You've seen some life, but you've not seen a much broader, bigger life of job, corporate, or a startup, whatever, right? So you take another 3-4 years to figure out who you are and what you want to be. Okay? Now, when you're on campus, you might think that I want to do this further studies, or I want to start this company, or I want to work in this big company, or I want to go join this research wing, I want to go to MIT and do research, I want to go to Google and become this AI engineer, I want to join McKinsey and become a McKinsey partner, I want to join IISc and become a prof, or I want to start a company and become a CEO. ये सब goals हो सकते हैं. But when you're in IIT, all these goals are theoretical goals, because you don't know what it means to be an AI engineer in Google. You don't know what it is to be a McKinsey partner at McKinsey. You don't know what it is to be a CEO or a founder of a startup. Everything is theoretical for you. You have some information, but it's all theoretical. The 4 years or 3 to 4 years after IIT is when you actually discover whether you want to pursue what you thought you wanted to pursue. Right? So maybe your campus job is McKinsey. 2 years into that job is when you will realize whether I want to stick around for another 10 years and become a partner or not. 2 years into writing coding is when you realize that whether you want to write code for another 10 years and become a principal engineer at Google or not. 2 years into investment banking or 3 years into investment banking, you figure out whether you want to continue doing banking at Goldman Sachs or you want to be a product manager at a technology company. So these sets of years, these 4 years at campus and 3-4 years after campus are very defining steps, right? So like our schoolboy life is like this, and then suddenly IIT life is a big step function jump, right? You not only obtain skill, but you obtain a lot of confidence, you expand your worldview, you're much more confident, so that's a step function jump. And then there's another step function jump of self-discovery. Ki aap core pe kya ho? Because whatever you are, you have to keep doing that for 20 years. Okay? Just because you thought you wanted to be McKinsey partner when you were 20 years old, in your second year, it doesn't mean that that was the right choice or the right decision for you. Only when you start there and when you work for a couple of years at McKinsey, you'll realize, और 20 साल मैं कर सकता हूँ, करना चाहता हूँ या नहीं. Once you discover that, yes, I love this job, then you can keep doing it for 20 years. If you don't love something, you can't do it for 20 years. That's punishment. Only when you enjoy writing code can you become a software engineer for 20 years. Only when you enjoy management consulting can you become a partner at McKinsey. तो 3-4 साल after college self discovery के होते हैं. And that is an important time to discover what you want to be. So अभी telling कि अच्छा नहीं MS कर लो, MBA कर लो या management consulting कर लो, investment banking कर लो, product manager बन जाओ, all meaningless है. I'll tell you, when I was on campus, I wanted to, my dream job was McKinsey. Dream, like जब मेरा McKinsey में नहीं हुआ तो खूब रोया था मैं. Like आंसुओं से रोया था, full, रात भर रोया था कि मेरा McKinsey में नहीं हुआ था. So like I got knocked out at like final round or something, and I was like, shit यार वो एक round, सारे इंटरव्यू ठीक थे, एक बिगड़ गया, वो ठीक हो जाता तो जॉब मिल जाती, blah blah blah. I was very sad. Next day I got a job at ITC, but I was still sad. Everyone around me was so happy. And they were like so thrilled कि यार तेरी जॉब लग गया ITC में, कोई सोचा भी नहीं था कि ITC में जॉब लगेगी. उस टाइम पे ITC की जॉब बहुत बड़ी जॉब होती थी, तो McKinsey भी ज़्यादा पैसे मिलते थे. And everybody was thrilled कि wow, you got this job, and I was like really sad that I did not get a McKinsey job. And then 2 years later, I moved to consulting. I went to the US. I could have I needed to stay there for a year so that I could get into consulting long term and do an MBA at an Ivy League, blah blah. 3 years later, I just said, I don't want to do consulting. I don't want to spend another 15 years to be a partner at a consulting firm in the US or wherever, because I didn't enjoy it. And I said, I think I'm a different person, and this is what I want to do. And then I came back to India, and I started working in a tech startup, and I became a product manager / founder, like founder but a product manager, and I enjoyed doing product management. And I enjoyed building stuff using technology, and I enjoyed building consumer internet products, and I enjoyed working in the internet space, and I enjoyed working in the India space, right? And again, a lot of people were confused कि अरे तेरी तो अच्छी खासी job थी, why are you leaving that job? I mean, you could have lived in the US, why are you not doing that? You could have done an MBA, why are you not doing that? But once you discover what you want to do, all that looks meaningless, right? It doesn't attract you, because what attracts you, you want to do that and you want to excel at that. So give yourself the space for self-discovery. What you think you want to be right now is all theoretical. What you actually will be eventually will come 3-4 years after you graduate from campus. And you need to give yourself that space to discover. Don't be too rigid कि नहीं मैं तो यही बनूंगा, मैं कंप्यूटर साइंस से हूँ तो मैं सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर ही बनूंगा. No, maybe you'll become a iBanker, right? मेरे को iBanker बनना है 2 साल, वो आपको पता तभी चलेगा after you've worked in an iBank for a couple of years, whether you want to do it for 20 years.
So sir, talking about the step function you mentioned, you clearly nailed that. You were awarded the Institute Citation, Institute's Cultural Color and Organizational Color Awards.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us more about these and the kind of clubs and activities you were involved in?
So, like, you अभी भी color वाले मिलते हैं?
We haven't heard of that.
No? Okay. तो फिर कैसे पता कि color क्या होता है?
So sir, मतलब कि we asked our seniors and they said that is an award awarded in the graduation ceremony, right?
No, so it's awarded on.
To provide more insight.
It's awarded on the last night of PAFs. So, how many of you PAFs हो रहे हैं? So, yeah, maybe the first year and second year will not know. क्या PAF हुए हैं पिछले 3-4 साल में?
पिछली बार हुआ है.
Okay. So, on the 5th, 5 PAF होते हैं, भी अच्छे होते हैं. 2 तो एक ही पैफ सारे हॉस्टल में एक ही पैफ करेंगे. ओके, आई सी. ओह मैन, सो ब्रेक हो गया पूरा. Okay, so in my time there were 11 hostels and there would be 5 PAFs. So 2 hostels would pair up to do a PAF, and you would have these productions, 5 productions, and it was a big event. The scale was also very grand. Eventually the institute toned down the scale also कि इतना पागलपन मत करो. Otherwise, OAT mein, it's impossible, like the OAT would get transformed. People would make sets which were crazy. Matlab, bamboo say and paper say you would make like massive palaces and castles and I don't know what, rivers, and कोई helicopter land करा रहा है ऊपर से ऐसे helicopter आकर land कर रहा है, कोई plane take off करा रहा है पेपर का बना हुआ और नदी बह रही है, so नदी dry up भी हो रही है, so there are stories around it. So it used to be like these massive productions. Anyway, so the fifth PAF is also the awards night for that year, so at the institute level, and you have institute colors which are given to about 5 or 7 students. Us time pe the criteria was 1%. So if you have a batch of actually 1% था या 0.1% था, color तो किसी भी साल मिल सकता था. So it's about 0.1%. So you have a total of, I don't know, 4,000 students, and about 6-7 colors would be given. And cultural colors are for your contributions in lit, arts, music, dance, etc. Organizational colors are for your contributions in TechFest, Modai, hostel level, institute level, any work that you've done there. And citation is given to you in your final year if you've done color level work for multiple years. So if you've done exemplary work in your second year and your third year and your fourth year and your fifth year, then you get a citation. So citation is like color of colors. So yeah, I got a cultural color in second year, and I got an organizational color so I got a cultural color because of my work in arts and lit scene in the institute as well as outside. So I think at intercollegiate level, me and my partner won a bunch of competitions for IIT Bombay. At institute level, I won a bunch of competitions for my hostel. So I got a cult color in second year. In my third year, I got an organizational color for my work at TechFest and hostel. So I was hostel cult co and TechFest manager and a bunch of other things, right? So for that, and I did a bunch of other things on campus also. And then in my fifth year, I got the organizational citation. So yeah, I did get it. I did a lot of work. I think so all of you should be working. You should be working very hard. Very, very hard. So that's the only way to ensure success. So I think in my batch, I was probably the only one who got both a cult color and an org color. Because those who are good at cult will excel at cult, and to get a color will require some amount of effort. It's not like I was the best. There were many other much more talented people in my batch who got cult colors over 2-3 years. And then there will be some exceptional people who are very good at org, like TechFest, Modai, eCell, and other activities. So they would continue to work in that. It's rare to get a sports color and an org color, or a sports color and a cult color, or a cult color and a, so it's working in 2 fields and getting colors stuff.
And also, sir, you went on to become the overall coordinator of TechFest in the year 2004. So how was your experience?
The experience was, देखिए life में 4 चीजें चाहिए. Okay, you have to be smart, you have to work hard, you have to be lucky, okay, and what's the 4th thing that I value?
You have to have all 3 of them.
No. It'll come to me, but I'll tell you. So देखिए, in this room, pretty much everyone is above the baseline smart level. Everyone is smart. IIT में अगर आप आ गए हो, you can assume that you're also smart, and anybody you interact with is smart. So all of you have cleared the baseline level of being smart. And you've been smart from 4th standard. And it's not like if you work hard, you'll become smarter. जितना IQ है उतना ही रहेगा, more or less. So you can't become smarter or anything. It's like वो selection जितना आप smart थे उतना हो, अब selection process के through आप सब लोगों को एक room में डाल दिया है. So you can't fix that. Neither can you become dumb, nor can you become smarter. So all of you are smart. Good. That box is checked. Now what is the delta between an equally smart guy and you? You can work hard or choose not to work hard. The other person might work hard or choose not to work hard. So working hard is super important, right? You have to work hard. That is a big differentiator between, and consistently you have to work hard. In everything. In acads, you have to work hard. In extracurriculars, you have to work hard. In sports, you have to work hard. So you just have to keep working very hard. You have to put insane amounts of effort. Okay? And then you have to be lucky. You can't do much about luck, but it's just not sufficient that आप smart or lucky हो जाओगे अपने आप. Lucky होने का way is through working hard. Right? It's not like I'm smart and I'm lucky and this is sufficient. No. You have to be smart, and to be lucky, you have to work hard first. You have to cross that bridge to be lucky. Why I'm telling you? Because, see, sometimes you're very smart, you work very hard, and yet the outcome for you is not the same as the outcome for somebody who was equally smart and worked equally hard as you. But उसका outcome आपसे 10x ज़्यादा better आ गया. So that is because they got lucky. And when you ask any successful person, how did you become successful? They'll say, boss, luck. But don't think कि सिर्फ lucky थे वो. They were also smart and they were hardworking. So ये तीनों चाहिए आपको to get somewhere. अब हम जब फर्स्ट ईयर में थे, सीनियर ने बोला ये टेबल उठाना है, तो हम टेबल उठा देते हैं. ये चेयर सारी रख कर आओ, 100 चेयर हैं, 2 लोग हैं, जाके वहाँ रख के आओ, 100 चेयर रख कर आते थे. तब ये फ्लेक्स बैनर नहीं होते थे, प्रिंटिंग कुछ नहीं होती थी. वी यूज्ड टू हैंड पेंट बैनर्स. सो कॉलेज फेस्ट के जो बैनर्स, पब्लिसिटी के बैनर्स होते थे ना, पूरे कैंपस में जो लगते हैं, दे यूज्ड टू बी हैंड पेंटेड. तो कपड़े पे वी यूज्ड टू पेंट यूजिंग पोस्टर कलर्स. 100 बैनर पेंट करने होते थे, तो रात भर बैठ के पेंट करते थे. सो आफ्टर लाइक dinner starts at 7:30 in the mess and finishes at 9. By 7:45 we used to finish dinner and go to SAC. 8 o'clock onwards, from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning, we used to paint banners, poster color lekar. So I had a dedicated t-shirt and jeans which was only for like painting banners. तो 50-50 बैनर पेंट करते थे over multiple nights. So टेक फेस्ट उसी तो मैं 4th ईयर में बना. फर्स्ट ईयर में तो टेबल उठाए, चेयर उठाई, बैनर पेंट किए, बैनर जाके चिपका कर आए, प्रिंटर के पास जाकर सामान लेकर आए. सो लाइक जस्ट फिजिकल हार्ड वर्क. एंड यू कैन से कि अरे मैं इतना स्मार्ट हूँ, ये फिजिकल वर्क कौन करेगा? सो नो, you want to get to the next level, you have to put in the physical work. So no shortcuts. And then of course you have to be lucky also. The selection committee who saw your work and saw your smartness must have also seen another guy who was equally smart and equally hardworking. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप टेक फेस्ट में 20 मैनेजर में आप ही एक अकेले हो जो जिसने काम किया है. Everyone worked. But somehow they felt that you are better suited to lead the next year's team. थोड़ा बहुत आपके फेवर में लक था.
That's really pretty insightful, and it speaks a lot about you, that you were really hardworking during your college years, and it also acted as a motivation to us. So, since you were so hardworking, one of the things that we went through your LinkedIn, and we found out that you have been called a rare breed with the heart of an artist and a mind of an engineer, and an epitome of efficiency in a corporate workplace. So, what is the secret behind such a productive ninja? Well, you have told us a lot about yourself, but still, like this also is a very big, it's a important parameter that you are really great.
I don't know. किसी ने LinkedIn पे लिखा है क्या ये? Testimonial. I can't help it if someone writes stuff like this. Yeah, no shortcuts. I would say just there are no shortcuts in life, and you just have to keep putting in the work, enjoy what you do, figure out what you love, do more of it, and just like maximize the effort. खूब effort डालो हर चीज़ में, और जहाँ मज़ा आता है, and figure out what you like and what you love, and put double the effort there, or keep doubling down on areas you like. I think that's the only way to, and keep doing it for many, many years. That's the only way to succeed. There are no shortcuts, like nothing is built overnight. You don't get lucky in 1 or 2 years. For me to become TechFest OC, it took me 4 years of work, right? First year mein I was TechFest organizer, but I was also Moodai organizer, and I worked equally hard in both fests. Second year mein I was TechFest coordinator, but I was also Moodai coordinator, and I was also my hostel's late secchi, and I was my hostel's primary representative in all fine arts activities, and I was also participating at all the inter-college festivals. So I was just putting in work, right? So in third year, I had a choice to like continue working for Moodai or for TechFest, and because I became TechFest manager, I doubled down on that, stopped working for Moodai, but I continued working for my hostel. I became, I think us saal nobody got selected for Cult Co, so they like default made me Cult Co so that I did that. So I was the TechFest manager, but I was also the Cult Co. I would write for Insight. I would do a bunch of things. So just like you have to put in the effort. No, unfortunately, no shortcuts.
So, sir, coming to your professional life, after spending 3 years in the corporate world at ITC and Oprah Solutions, what motivated you to go the entrepreneurial way? And with your first startup, Chowpatty Bazaar. And we would also like to know the story behind the name.
Okay. So, look, like I said, when I was on campus, I wanted to work in a consulting firm. फिर मेरी campus job, दो ही consulting firm आते थे उस time पे, McKinsey and BCG. And they would select three candidates each. So there were like 6 spots for consulting jobs. 3 in McKinsey and 3, actually BCG भी first time आई थी life में. उससे पहले सिर्फ 3 spots थे. Anyway, the 6 spots में I didn't get a job in the first 6 offers. So the 2 consulting gigs got closed. But the third offer was an ITC offer, and like I made it. So I was in the first 10 kids on campus who got a job. But within 1 year, I moved to a consulting firm in the US. So there was a boutique firm called Oprah Solutions, small but very impactful work. Used to work with only Fortune 50 clients, that too in very select sectors like finance, banking, insurance, etc. No cement, no manufacturing. Didn't do the old school sectors, only did the new age sectors. Was a good job, was an incredible job. But again, like I said earlier, within 2.5, 3 years, I realized that this is fun, but it's not something that I wanted to do for 20 years. And I discovered that I enjoyed building stuff, and I enjoyed building stuff using technology. And I liked India more than I liked work. I like working outside also, but I felt that I would enjoy working here more. I felt more at home working in India. So I took a call and said, okay, I will work in India in the technology space and I'll build something. So that's how I started my first company. My co-founder had also spent, Kashyap Devra is also a IIT Bombay senior. So he'd spent 6-7 years in Silicon Valley, and he also wanted to come back to India and build something. So yeah, we took a call together to come back. And the name Chowpatty came from, Chowpatty is a generic name for beach actually. Juhu ko Chowpatty bolte hain, but it actually means a beach. And beaches are open access. So we were building a marketplace that had open access, right? Anybody could access it. So that's how we came with that name Chowpatty.
So like you had an experience both in the corporate world and the startup workplace. So like all the students, the audience would like to know what would be the difference. Like you would have worked at both places, so you know the main difference between both the workplaces.
Yeah.
Can you throw some light there?
Yeah. So I started off working at ITC, and ITC is it's one of India's largest companies, one of the most profitable companies in India, one of the oldest companies in India. It's an institution, right? You spend 3-4 years at ITC, you would end up at Harvard Business School, easy, no big deal. So that's the kind of an institution it is. But like all large institutions, it will be slow, and it will have some average people. It will have some incredible people, but it will also have some average people. You can get stuck with an average person as your manager, and you will feel stifled. So, see, you need to have the patience. If it is your goal, if your goal is to become A-level at ITC, or if your goal is to get to Harvard Business School and continue working in large corporates like ITC, then you need to have the patience to wear out the odd bad manager you might hit. It's unlucky that you hit a bad manager early in your life, but कुछ कर नहीं सकते उसका, right? You just have to wear it out. But I also realized that I didn't want to do manufacturing, or I didn't want to, so I moved to consulting because that's what I thought I wanted to do. And from consulting also I moved to product and technology. And once I discovered what I wanted to be, then I was consistent, right? Like 2008 se leke 2023 tak I am a product manager, right? So for the last 15 years, the only thing that I enjoy doing is building technology products. So once you discover what you want to be, then you can like go deep and double down. And so every organization will have different pluses and minuses depending on scale. So an ITC will be slow, can have average people, you can end up with a bad manager, but it is also an institution. If you spend time, you can get to Harvard. You will learn a lot because it will have scale, all of that, right? And a company like Opera will have very sharp work, right? Focused work, sharp work. You will work with all brilliant people because it's a small firm, 100 people only. So everyone will be from a B school, top B school or an Ivy League. Everyone will be smart. Your expenses will be taken care of. You will fly business class always. You will have amazing hotels. But the downside is it won't be a institution like ITC. It will have narrow width of work. So your work will have to be constrained to those sectors that they work in. In a startup, everything will be chaotic. Nothing will be structured. You will define what rules are meant to be, and you will be in charge. There will be nobody to complain. Like you yourself have to fix problems. But there will be upside. You can choose what you want to do, right? That's an upside. The other upside is the value creation. You own all of it or significant portion of it. You can have step function jumps in how much value you create. In ITC, no matter what you do, you will only move to the next pay grade after a certain point of time. In Opera, you don't have to move to the next pay grade because bonuses will take. If you do a great work, you will get a very large bonus. In ITC, no matter how great your work is, you can't get like a large bonus. In a startup, you will not get a bonus, neither will you get a salary, but if your company becomes big, you will own a lot of equity. So it depends on the size of the company.
So sir, what prompted you then, after founding Chowpatty Bazaar, what prompted you to switch to the EdTech sector? And can you take us through the origin of Toppr?
Yeah. So we started Chowpatty in 2008, and in 2010, we merged with a large Indian retailer, Future Group, Kishore Biani's group, with the assumption that we can transform retail in India using technology. We spent 2.5 years after that. Unfortunately, it was not panning out the way we thought it would. So we finished our vesting period and we exited that. But it was clear to me that I still wanted to work in the internet space and in the consumer internet space in India. So, and 2013 was a very interesting time when all these companies were still coming up, like Ola was 1 year old, housing was just getting started, Chayos had one cafe, Swiggy was not existent, Zomato was still a, menu discovery app, no food deliveries. So it was a very interesting time at that time. And then I started to think what sectors can get transformed using tech. And when you spend 4 or 5 years in internet space, you build frameworks, you build mental models. When you are absorbed, when you are immersed in that space 24/7, you have a certain, a mental model. You have some capacity to think, and see, when you start something, you have to also think of it in the future, not in the present or in the past. Past to bekar hai. Even present won't work. You have to think of it in the future. So it needs to be a big hit 5 years from today, not today. If you think that it will be a hit today, then you're already 5 years late. So I said by 2017-18, this EdTech sector will really blow up, and we need to start investing now, and that's what we started to do.
So what's your perspective on EdTech sector now? Is it a bubble for the upcoming startups, or there are yet an array of challenges to be tackled?
So I think now it's a deeply saturated space. There is no space to build a horizontal learning platform now. You can build niche verticals, but you can't really build a new horizontal platform because you're already 10 years late. If you want to build something like how EdTech is today, then you need to think of it in the future. I mean, it needs to be a secret today and a big hit in 5 years. So you have to think, what can we start investing in today that will automatically become like a big hit 5 years later? Right? Food delivery, for example. When you were in 5th standard, you didn't order food on phone. Your parents didn't order food on phone, right? But now everyone orders food on phone. So, but when you were in 5th standard, Dipinder Goyal was building food delivery, right? So he was thinking about how food delivery will be big in 5 years. So if, like, for anything to become big, you have to start thinking now, and it will take 5 years to become big. So that's how you need to think.
So, like, your company did make quite a lot of success, but in 2021, Toppr was acquired. So, what was your way forward after that? Like, what had you thought? What was your thought process after that?
So, by 21, we were entering the consolidation space of EdTech. So, in 2013, there were 20 EdTech companies that were trying to raise money at all stages, early stages. By 2017, it was down to like 4 or 5 companies. By 21, it was down to 3 companies that would get consolidated into, one giant company. And that's what happens in everything, right? Like in 2008, there were 40 e-commerce companies. By 2015 or 17, there was only one e-commerce company, which was Flipkart, and then Amazon entered India. So there were 2 e-commerce companies. Same with food delivery, right? Swiggy and Zomato. So like all sectors will go through a consolidation space where everything gets concentrated into 1, 2, maximum 3 players. So it was end game for education, and Toppr got acquired by Byju's, and then we started to integrate our technology into Byju's and leverage their distribution. So they were great at distribution and sales. We were great at product and technology. So we started combining the strengths. So that was my job, to consolidate my company into the larger group company. And that's what I did.
And so what is the next thing that you are excited about?
Next thing excited? No, I'm just on a break right now. If I was not on a break, I wouldn't be here in Bombay also. I would be working on whatever I was working on. So this year, so I started my first company in 2008, and then after that, all the way to 21, I've been working non-stop. Non-stop in the sense, like, of course, I will take a break, and of course, I'll go on vacation. But mentally, I'm like always thinking about company and work, right? So I just wanted that period of calm, when I don't think about anything serious and just like be. So that this is the current period.
So sir, talking about the break, how did you balance your life as a successful entrepreneur with your personal life and other interests? Like, what was your way to recharge yourself and stay motivated daily?
Yeah. So I think it's important to have interests, first of all. And what happens is, when you're a kid, you have a lot of interests. बहुत सारे interest होते हैं. Even in college time, you have a bunch of interests. But as you keep growing in your career, your interests will keep dying down. You'll either not find time or you'll not have the energy. The energy keeps going down, right? A 20-year-old's energy is different from a late 20-year-old's, like a 30-year-old's energy is different from a mid-30s or 40-year-old energy. So, आपका energy भी कम होता रहता है, you're like, अरे यार, कोई बात नहीं करना है, right? So as it is, the natural thing to happen is that interests will decline. Campus में आप football भी खेलते हो, थोड़ा volley भी खेल लेते हो, फिर जाके कुछ आर्ट्स में भी कर लेते हो, कुछ लिट में भी कर लेते हो, थोड़ा पेंटिंग भी कर लेते हो, थोड़ा फोटोग्राफी भी कर लेते हो, बाद में कुछ नहीं करते, right? So, but it's very important to have interests because different interests add color to your life. Sometimes work will get monotonous, and the way to become successful at work is to have that monotonous thing and keep doing it again and again. It's not like, see, work becomes monotonous, iska ye matlab nahi, I don't want to do it. I still want to do it. I know that the only way to become great at my work is to keep doing it again and again and again, right? Like हर दिन same काम करूँगा, महीना निकलेगा, हर महीना same काम करूँगा, quarter निकलेगा, quarter after quarter काम करता रहूँगा, साल निकलते हैं, तभी जाके I become great at my work. So I know that I have to go through this repeat cycle of work. So I'm not saying I don't want to do it, but it will be monotonous. It can get boring. Your interests add color, right? आपको किस चीज़ में interest है? You have interest in cycling, you have interest in hiking, you are interested in a sport, you want to play that sport, you have interest in motorcycle riding, you have interest in food, you have interest in fashion, you have interest in watches, you have interest in cars, you have interest in bikes, you have interest in building custom bikes. कुछ तो interest जो भी आपका होता है ना, and by 30s 2-3 interests ही बचते हैं. Like, but having those interests adds color to your life. It's a good way to, distract yourself, find meaning for, just time and life. Just keeps you engaged.
So you still do photography and other things and to keep you engaged in your free time?
Not like I used to do earlier. So earlier I used to shoot a lot, right? Like I think I had a photo blog. I used to post a picture every day, sometime, like if not every day, at least 3-4 pictures a week. And I had this people following my photo blog from all over the world, and my friends, and so I used to take a lot of pictures, and I used to go out on the street, wait for light, wait for a moment, and come back, process the pictures. Now I don't have the time or energy bhi nahi hai, but more importantly time hi nahi hai utna. So I don't do it. Now I just do a little bit of phone photography, right? So phone se jitna खींच सकते हो उतना खींच लेता हूँ. But yeah, your interests transform into other interests.
So looking back on your journey so far, what do you think have been the most important lessons that you have learned, and how have these lessons shaped your approach towards life and work?
Okay, अभी याद आया मेरे को चौथा चीज. Okay, so smart, hard work, network, and luck. These are the 4 things that will shape your success, right? So smart आप लोग सब हो, hard work आपके हाथ में है. By getting to IIT, you've also cracked the network. आपका network भी solve हो गया, right? Like now it's up to you to build that and nurture it. A lot of equally smart and equally hardworking people outside IIT won't be able to leverage this network because they won't have equally smart classmates or equally smart friends or equally hardworking friends. So they will never have the network that you have. तो आप लोगों का नेटवर्क अभी तो सब आप लोग एक क्लासरूम में हो या एक हॉस्टल में हो, एक डिपार्टमेंट में हो, बट इवेंचुअली जब आप निकलोगे तो आप में से 5 लोग MIT चले जाओगे, 5 लोग स्टैनफोर्ड चले जाओगे, 5 लोग ITC चले जाओगे, 5 लोग मैकिन्जी चले जाओगे, फिर मैकिन्जी वाला हार्वर्ड चला जाएगा, हार्वर्ड वाला कहीं प्रॉफ बन जाएगा, स्टैनफोर्ड वाला IIT बॉम्बे आके प्रॉफ बन जाएगा, ITC वाला फाउंडर बन जाएगा. So as you go through your journeys of life, this network will keep expanding, and by getting into IIT, you already cracked the network. It's up to you to nurture it. It's up to you to stay connected. So and it's a massive advantage / disadvantage, this network, right? Like वो Twitter पे जाके देखो, everybody keeps cribbing कि वो jobs तो सब IIT को ही देते हैं. अरे भाई, अब मैं क्या करूँगा अगर आपने JEE एग्जाम नहीं लिया आपके 10th के बाद? Like मेरी गलती थोड़ी ना है. तो right, so I mean, it wasn't like the exam was closed for you, right? The exam is an open access exam. Pretty much anybody in India can take it in any language. So they keep, you see those cribs कि all those jobs, वो तो tech bros तो सिर्फ अपने tech bros को hire करते हैं. No boss, I am looking for like मेरे को क्या पड़ी है? I am looking for the best candidate for this job. And मेरे को कोई affiliation नहीं है कि मैं IIT बॉम्बे से ही hire करूँगा. I'm looking for the best people, and my process is leading me to find the best people here, and your process is leading you to find the best opportunities here. So it's a match. तो मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ उसमें, right? I'm everybody selfish. कोई भी जाकर out of the way जाकर IIT बॉम्बे के लिए hire नहीं करेगा, right? I am selfishly hiring for myself, and you are selfishly finding the best opportunities, and our network is enabling that connection, right? किसी ने sign थोड़ी ना किया IIT से निकलते हुए कि मैं lifelong IIT से hire करूँगा. So network is a very big thing, and then of course luck. So yeah. अब सवाल पूछो, क्या पूछ रहे थे?
So like that was like, so you have so many experiences. So what are your most important learnings and lessons that you have learned throughout your life?
Lessons that I've learned throughout my life. तब से जो बता रहा था वो सब लाइफ लेसन्स ही थे ना. There is no one lesson that I learned from life, right? All lessons are important. Valuing your friends is important, working hard is important, being humble is important, being opportunistic is important, being smart is important. Life lesson, so कोई individual, I won't be able to summarize like ये 3 life lesson मैंने सीखे, आप भी सीख लो. It's hard. I've already told you what the 4 factors of your success are going to be. So वही consider कर लो life lesson.
That's great. We would definitely implement them in our life as well. So like moving on to the informal segment. We have a little rapid fire round for you.
Okay.
We'll ask you some questions. You have to try answering them as quickly as possible without pondering on them too much.
ये वैसे वाले क्वेश्चन है क्या, दीपिका या अनुष्का?
Yeah.
हाँ, फिर I have to say both, ऐसा?
We would prefer you say one. But,
One, okay.
But it's your decision. You can choose. Favorite show?
Favorite show? Mad Men.
An easy one. Favorite institute body?
Tech Fest.
If you could invent anything, what would it be?
Ability to fly.
The craziest thing you have done in institute?
Craziest thing? Oh. So I went to interview. So he was Dean Infra को क्या बोलते हैं? Dean Infra ही होता है? हाँ? Dean Infra, right? Like he was responsible for all the new hostel construction, etc. Huh? IPS. Okay, yeah. So I was writing for Insight, the newspaper, institute newspaper, and I had, so there were Hostel 12 and Hostel 13 were coming up. These were the new hostels at that time. And the dean infra or IPS or whatever was responsible for that, and I had, as students we had certain questions. I went to interview him. He was also a civil prof. तो तब तक मेरा कोई कोर्स तो उनके साथ हुआ नहीं था, तो ओवरलैप था नहीं. तो I was interviewing, and then we hit some point of contest. Basically, he said certain things, and I disagreed with it. And तो मैंने बोला यार आप 750 रुपये की ट्यूबलाइट लगा रहे हो हॉस्टल 12-13 में, और हमारे यहाँ पर जब हम आते थे ना हॉस्टल तो सिर्फ बल्ब लगा होता था. So we used to bring our gadda, we used to bring bucket and mug, and we used to also bring a tubelight room में, because it was too dim. So tubelight लगाना पड़ता था room में. The rooms didn't have tubelights also. I said आप 750 रुपये की ट्यूबलाइट वहाँ लगाते हो, यहाँ 60 रुपये की ट्यूबलाइट क्यों नहीं लगाते? तो he said कि नहीं, जो बल्ब लगा है उतना लाइट सफिशिएंट है. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा वो लाइट सफिशिएंट है? हाँ उतना लाइट सफिशिएंट है. तो उनके रूम में बहुत सारी लाइट थी, तो मैंने साइड में स्विच था तो मैंने बंद कर दिया. मैंने कहा ये बल्ब सफिशिएंट है ना, अपन इसमें इंटरव्यू करते हैं. तो फिर उसके नेक्स्ट सेमेस्टर में मेरे ग्रेड्स आए थे. अच्छा, बाय द वे आई वाज लाइक फर्स्ट ईयर में किसी ने बताया नहीं कि IIT में पढ़ाई करनी चाहिए, राइट? मुझे लगा IIT में तो इतना पढ़कर आए हैं, IIT में आगे क्या पढ़ना चाहिए, राइट? सो माय फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर CPI वाज लाइक 6.6. किसने यस बोला? सो फिर रियलाइज़ हुआ कि IIT आए हैं पढ़ाई करने के लिए, तो पढ़ाई करनी चाहिए. तो नेक्स्ट सेम में अच्छी आई और उसके बाद फिर और अच्छी आई. तो अच्छा, इस सेमेस्टर में ग्रेड्स आए मेरे A स्क्वायर, A स्क्वायर, A स्क्वायर, A स्क्वायर. 6 कोर्स होते हैं और कुछ 2-3 लैब के कोर्सेज होते हैं. तो टोटल 36 + 9 कुछ 45 क्रेडिट्स होते हैं ना हर सेमेस्टर में रफली. तो सारे A स्क्वायर थे, और एक कोर्स था वो 6 का नहीं था, 8 क्रेडिट का कोर्स था. उसमें आई DD. सीधे DD, वो भी लाइक FF मिलने वाला था, तो एक एक्स्ट्रा असाइनमेंट दिया. FF दूं या असाइनमेंट करोगे? तो असाइनमेंट करने के बाद मेरे को DD मिली. वो उस प्रॉफ का कोर्स था. तो लाइट किसी की स्विच ऑफ मत करना जाके. Who would I invite? Like,
Rapid fire, sir.
अच्छा, rapid fire. Steve Jobs, Babar, and Deepika Padukone.
Choose one, cooking or photography.
Cooking.
The biggest risk that you have taken?
I took multiple risks at every stage. So I realized that I am over-indexed on risk. I consistently take risks that are on the higher threshold, right? I've been consistently taking risks. IIT maybe I took a risk. Risk matlab, my only option was job, like no backup of applying to US universities or applying to Indian B schools. ना मैंने CAT की preparation की थी, ना GRE और TOEFL देना पड़ता था उस time पर. तो कोई TOEFL या GRE कुछ नहीं था. So like my only thing was job. I was like, कोई backup plan नहीं था. Then I quit my US job, came back to India to start a company. That was a risk. I started a company again after my first company. I was like, maybe I don't want to do another company, but like again I started a company. Within the company also you keep taking risks. Every day you have multiple decisions, and all my decisions are always on the riskier side. I always max out on what I can do, right? Like if things fail, then it'll fail big time. But if it works, so actually Rediff.com ka CEO had come to IIT for a talk, and I was in my second year at that time, first or second year. And in LT, Lecture Theatre, he gave a talk where he said, he put up one equation on the board on the slide. He said risk equal to return. And that was the crux of his talk. Risk is equal to return. Somehow it got wired into me. So I always operate on the riskier side.
Okay, rate the best food at IIT Bombay on a scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 10. If you ask my mother, na, she'll say IIT का खाना बहुत अच्छा है. She would rate a 10. So वो आती हैं सेमेस्टर में एक बार 2 दिन के लिए 3 दिन के लिए. जब हम घर से वापस आते हैं ना तो हमको भी 3 दिन तक अच्छा लगता था खाना. बिकॉज 4-5 आइटम होते हैं, दाल भी होती है, सब्जी भी होती है, रोटी भी होता है, चावल भी होता है, मिठाई भी होती है, तो सभी होता है. लाइक व्हाट इज देयर टू क्रिप अबाउट. एंड it's balanced food. So yeah, she used to come and she said, "हम लोग का तो खाना बहुत अच्छा होता है." So she would give a 10. I would give a 7, 6, 7.
Way too high.
हाँ?
Way too high.
तो खाना बनाना कितने लोगों को आता है? हाँ? बस 3-4 लोगों को ही आता है. खाना बनाओ एक बार, फिर पता चलेगा कि क्रिब मारना बंद करो, जो मिल रहा है खाओ चुपचाप. नहीं तो बनाना सीख लो. उस मेस के खाने से अच्छा खाना खुद जब बनाना सीख लोगे ना, तब आगे क्रिब करना.
One thing that you regret not doing at IIT.
Not doing at Insti. ऐसा कोई मेजर रिग्रेट तो नहीं है. बंदी हाँ थी. H10 की ही थी. मतलब just to clarify.
Okay, so if you could, what role would you change in ITB?
If I could change, I would change a lot of things. I would change your placement process. I would remove that one job, one person, one job constraint. I would change your internships. I would move it from end of third year to end of program. And second year, third year में जो 3-3 महीने की internship होती हैं, उनको हटाकर सीधे end of your fourth year के last semester, all of it should be internship. 6 months करा देता. I would upgrade all the hostels, but that would require money. अभी hostels उसी टाइम पे बेकार थे, अभी तो और भी बेकार हो गए होंगे. 20 साल में तो पूरा क्रम like खंडर हो गए होंगे. So I would change that. Huh? 5. I would change that. What else would I change? Mess is okay. Extra, huh?
Teaching pedagogy.
Pedagogy is okay. Pedagogy is okay. See, it can't change that much. Pedagogy is, see, what you learn here is not something that you will go and apply in the outside world. That's not the intention of teaching at IIT or at any institute for that matter. Teaching is not because आपने structural mechanics 1, structure 2, structure 3 किया तो बाहर जाके वो job में bending moment diagram बनाकर force निकालने का तो कोई job है नहीं. So you're not learning to learn structural mechanics. Neither are you learning hydraulic engineering. ना ही आप कुछ सीधे यहाँ aerospace पढ़ के जाके कोई plane बनाने वाले हो. You're in that 6 months or in that 5-month semester, actually 4-month semester. In that 4-month semester, we are testing your ability to learn, absorb and then apply. उस 4 महीने में आपको जितना पढ़ाया वो आप सीखिए, absorb करिए और apply करके दिखाइए कि आप कर सकते हो कि नहीं कर सकते हो. That's the test. उसमें A² ले आओ काफ़ी है. उतना ही आपका job. Because real life is not about what you learned 20 years ago in some institute. Real life is about constantly learning, absorbing and reapplying. So you're training your mind to absorb and apply. So you're getting so many opportunities to do it. 8 semester में कम से कम 6 course हैं. तो 50 बार आपको opportunity मिल रहा है to learn something and apply something and score an A² in that. करके दिखाओ.
Final question. This is not the rapid fire, so we have concluded the rapid fire. The final question for the evening, and we asked this a lot at ST. If you could go back in time and give your freshy self one piece of advice about college life, what would it be?
High CPI. If somebody told me in my first day on campus, कि भैया सबसे important चीज़ high CPI है, so I think I would have done differently. हाँ? नहीं, McKinsey नहीं, it's not about McKinsey. McKinsey में तो शायद फिर भी नहीं होता या हो भी जाता, I don't know. McKinsey was not because I didn't have a McKinsey का तो इंटरव्यू किया ना, so it's not like CPA की वजह से shortlist नहीं हुए. So no, but I think I missed out on a high CPI when I was on campus. I mean, high in the sense like ठीक ठाक थी, it was not 9.5. If I had to go back, I would go back and do a 9.5 on campus. Or I would try to get a 9.5 on campus. I would put the effort to get that.
So sir, now I would like to give audience an opportunity to ask questions if anyone has particularly in mind.
Thank you. It was a wonderful talk. So what is your biggest strength that gave you the power of starting up? Like that you knew about yourself, that you are very sure about before starting up? Qualities then to know it.
Multiple things. It's not like single thing, right? It's a personality.
Biggest strength that you can bet on yourself.
Imagination, persistence. Like I can imagine stuff and I can persist, right? I can keep doing it for 10 years and I can keep imagining.
Thank you.
Hi, so great talk, by the way. You mentioned something about the self-discovery process that 2 to 3 years after or capable. How can we shorten that process?
So actually the institute is designed to elongate that process because it is very inefficient in your placements. What job you end up with is not the job that you actually want to start with. Forget eventually sticking to that job to dur ki baat hai. It's not even the starting job that you can get. No overlap with industry, so you don't know what a startup is, you don't know what ITC is, you don't know what McKinsey is because you've never interacted with McKinsey or ITC or a startup on a long-term basis. So I think a long internship would help you discover that. Spending more time, this small interactions won't help you. I can't teach you product management in 1 hour. You need to spend 6 months to learn product management and discover whether you like it or not. You need to spend 6 months to discover software engineering. Everybody hates software engineering. Everybody hates writing code. Nobody wants to become a software engineer. At least in my time, nobody wanted to. Computer science students did not want to become software engineers. Nobody from outside of CS wanted to become a software engineer. Software engineer is the way to change the world. And those who become software engineers, once they discover that they want to become software engineers, there's no going back. उनको और कुछ करना ही नहीं है. Nobody, once you discover कि मैं तो software engineer हूँ, nobody wants to become a banker. Nobody wants to become a product manager also. Nobody wants to become a designer. Nobody wants to become a manufacturing generalist. So I think those long internships can help you, but unfortunately there's no short way to do it. भाई भाई है तो थोड़ा सा फिर भी हो जाता है कि अच्छा you see some older brother sister working somewhere and if you're close and if you share enough हो सकता है, but otherwise usually parents से negative ही होता है कि वो parents doctor होते हैं तो then you say कि मेरे को तो doctor नहीं बनना, parents manufacturing में काम करते तो मेरे को तो manufacturing नहीं करना. Usually थोड़ा सा उल्टा होता है वहाँ पर. Rarely होता है कि हाँ I want to be what my dad is. Next.
So my question is, you said that what they are teaching in the institute, we won't be applying it in the real life at our jobs. And you also said that if one advice you could give to a friend is that would be to get a high CPA. Why do you think getting a high CPA is important? Because getting a high CPA is basically excelling in the course. So if that course will not help me in my...
No, it's High CPI is excelling at the process, not at the course. Scoring A square is the process. कोई भी कोर्स रहने दो, क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है? Your goal should be to score A squares.
So should it not be like, okay, I'll get a DD or a CD and like I'll give these 10 to the bare minimum and with that time I'll do something that will help me in my life, maybe follow my passion or
वो भी करना है, ये भी करना है. पहले ये करना है, पहले इसको A square लानी है, उसके बाद वो करना है. It's not either or. It's not either or. That's the advice I want to give you. कि कई लोगों से I meet like in my own batch I saw AIR 6 था. He graduated with a 6 CPI. AIR 6 मतलब genius ही है वो. Single digit rank मतलब by default genius है. Right? All 2 digit ranks are also more or less genius. उसके बाद सब बराबर हैं. मतलब 150 वाले में और 1500 में उतना फर्क नहीं है मेरे हिसाब से. But single digit ranks and most of the 2 digit rankers are also all like genius kids. And he ended up with a 6 CPI. मैंने पूछा क्या हुआ? यार मेरे को स्टडीज में इंटरेस्ट नहीं था. कई लोगों को मैं पूछता हूँ CPI कम क्या है, मेरे को स्टडीज में इंटरेस्ट नहीं था. अरे भाई आपसे किसने बोला कि स्टडीज, आपसे पूछा किसी ने स्टडीज में इंटरेस्ट है या नहीं है? योर जॉब एट IIT was to apply yourself and show that you can learn quickly and apply what you learned. मैंने थोड़ी ना बोला कि आपको स्ट्रक्चरल मैकेनिक्स याद करके रखना है. राइट? यू डोंट हैव टू रिमेंबर ऑल द कोर्सेज. आई डोंट रिमेंबर. मेरे को तो ये भी याद नहीं कि कोर्सेज क्या थे मेरे. आई कांट इवन टेल यू all the 5 courses of each semester in the 10 semesters. Obviously not. Profs के नाम याद नहीं है मेरे को. But in that moment, it's like being in a gym. In that moment, you have to go deep. You have to like completely absorb. You have to dissolve yourself, and then in your mid-sem and end-sem, show that you were able to absorb. अरे चैलेंजेस की कमी नहीं है. हाँ? Many challenges, right from getting the right people to work. Getting talented people is a challenge. Motivating talent, if you get them also, motivating them to work is a challenge. Finding the right work for them so that they can excel and they can expand themselves and they can like grow in that job is a challenge. Whatever you build, distributing that to customers is a challenge. I mean, like life is full of, सिर्फ आपको लाइफ में चैलेंज ही आने वाला है. ये आपका लास्ट फेज है जो चैलेंज थोड़ा कम है. अब यहाँ से बाहर निकलोगे ना, उसके बाद सिर्फ और सिर्फ चैलेंज है लाइफ में. स्कूल तक थोड़ा कम चैलेंज था, अब थोड़ा बढ़ गया है IIT में आकर. अब यहाँ से एवरीडे चैलेंज है. घर पे भी चैलेंज रहेगा, हस्बैंड भी चैलेंज होगा, वाइफ भी चैलेंज होगी, गर्लफ्रेंड भी चैलेंज है, बॉयफ्रेंड भी चैलेंज है, जॉब भी चैलेंज है, बॉस भी चैलेंज है, बॉस का बॉस भी चैलेंज है. कितने घंटे? सो ITC में मैंने किया है. So my ITC में मेरी factory was about 50 kilometers from where I lived. So factory was outskirts. So 12 घंटे की शिफ्ट होती थी, 8 AM to 8 PM. And 1 week day shift होती थी और 1 week night shift होती थी. So I used to reach factory at 7:30. I used to leave factory at 8:30. आधा घंटा शिफ्ट से पहले ही पहुंचना पड़ता था, आधा घंटा शिफ्ट के बाद. और मेरे को 1.5 घंटा लगता था वन वे इन द कैब. कंपनी की कार आती थी, बट लाइक so 3 hours that and 13 hours. So 16 hours of work at ITC. Opera में I used to get to work at 8:30 in the morning. And sometimes I used to leave work at 7 PM, sometimes at 9 PM, sometimes at 2 AM also. जब 2 AM पे निकलो तो वापस 8 o'clock नहीं आओगे तो 9:30, 10 o'clock तक आओगे. So at Toppr, I used to get to office at 8:30, 9 o'clock लेटेस्ट 9 o'clock तो मेरी मीटिंग होती थी, तो आई यूज टू कम बाई 8:30 8:45 एंड आई यूज टू लीव बाई 9 to 10. बट ओपरा और टॉपर में आई यूज टू वर्क मंडे टू फ्राइडे, आईटीसी में आई यूज टू वर्क मंडे टू सैटरडे. एक्चुअली आईटीसी में मैं संडे भी जाता था फैक्ट्री आधे घंटे के लिए नहीं, आधे दिन के लिए. तो इसीलिए बोल रहा था लाइफ में अब यहाँ से चैलेंज ही चैलेंज है. ये एंजॉय कर लो अभी, 4 घंटे के क्लास और 3 घंटे की लैब. So working 12 to 13 hours a day should be normal in the first 5 years of your career. उतना काम नहीं कर रहे हो तो then you are not learning enough. 12-13 hours a day तो दबा के काम करना है first 5-6 years. हाँ, सो यार वो भी सैचुरेटेड वर्टिकल सच सैचुरेटेड मार्केट है रिटेल. आई थिंक द टाइम वाज 10 years 12 years ago. अभी तो बहुत हॉरिजॉन्टल रिटेल तो बन नहीं सकता, बट नीशेस इन रिटेल बन सकते हैं कि सम स्पेसिफिक यूज केस, कुछ सम CRM बना दिया, समथिंग, बट लाइक वेरी vertical niches are possible. I don't think a horizontal full retail company banana is not possible today. I mean, it's too late. There's Flipkart, there's Amazon, there are other large retail groups. A new retail group will have to come with the balance sheet of a Reliance or equivalent, right? I didn't get that. What are you saying?
Like, I think like just few years back, Indra has also came in that space to target some different level of consumers.
Yeah, you'll have to create niches now in that space.
So there are many ups and downs when you get when you're starting up or when you start. So how did you overcome the downs during the process?
रो के. Yeah. Huh? So see, startups will have a lot of adrenaline. बहुत adrenaline junkie हो जाते हो आप startup में, because there are lots of ups, there are lots of downs also. You need to be committed to wearing it out. You have to stay committed कि up हो या down हो, I'll keep doing it, because you don't know when that success is going to hit you. It's like आप चल रहे हो पता नहीं. I mean, it can be like this and suddenly it will go up. So it's not a linear path, unlike ITC जहाँ पर पता है हर 2 साल में एक level jump हो गए. So if you want to jump 5 levels, if you want to go from F to A, you know 12 साल तो लगना ही है. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कम से कम आपको 10 साल में पहुँच जाओगे. But there's no other way to. Startups are not linear at all. So the only way to do it is by staying committed to doing it. So you have to make some sort of mental note कि मैं ये कम से कम 3 साल करूँगा, कम से कम 4 साल करूँगा. I will not quit before I finish 4 years, no matter how bad things get. So ऐसे करके you have to like make strong commitments to yourself and keep doing it. और उस process में up आएगा तो you enjoy the adrenaline, बहुत मज़ा आता है. Down आ गया तो you'll enjoy the whatever depressive hormones that hit your body. तो खूब रोओगे. But yeah, you keep doing it.
Hello sir. So sir, basically अभी recently मतलब Toppr को बायजूस ने acquire किया है. And like I was going through an article and मैंने वहाँ पे पढ़ा कि जैसे बायजूस and बाकी जो EdTech companies है उनका जो CAC होता है वो काफी हाई है. And इसके साथ साथ अगर हम लोग देखें तो जैसे अभी जो recent companies आ रही है उनमें का CAC काफी थॉट इसमें कि मतलब ये सस्टेनेबल है एंड मतलब वो सीए अगर इतना हाई है तो वो लॉन्ग टर्म में कब तक वो रन कर पाएंगे इस चीज़ को?
यार ऑलरेडी काम से छूट कर भाई यहाँ आया हो यार, वापस यहाँ पर काम करोगे तो मेरे को यार it's hard. I mean, see, it's hard for me to address this question because you will need to understand what CAC is. You will need to understand what CAC is at in the first year of your life, in the second year of your life, what LTV is, where is your CAC to LTV ratio trending now, where was it 5 years ago, where will it be. So तो इतना complex है कि मैं एक मिनट में can't give you a simplistic answer or like a headline कि अच्छा ये हो जाएगा. But like if you force me to do it, I'll say कि हाँ CAC कम हो जाएगा. It's like but it doesn't make sense, right? Like it won't make sense to you. So it's you have to really get into it on the inside. वो भी outsider के view से नहीं होगा. किसने बोला CAC high है? किसी पब्लिकेशन ने बोला ना, आप वहीं से पढ़ कर आ रहे हो. तो किसी ने बोल दिया CAC हाई है, और किसने बोला कि नई कंपनी का CAC लो है, वो भी किसी पब्लिकेशन ने बोला. जाके नई कंपनी वाले को पूछो वो कितना परेशान है, वो बताएगा कि यार मेरा CAC बहुत हाई है, मैं भी बहुत परेशान हूँ, राइट. सो ये इट्स दिस हेडलाइंस आर simplistic distillations of what happens in a complex environment, right? So unless you're deeply in there, it doesn't, you won't be able to make a, you won't be able to make an intelligent comment about it.
आपने सीखा के ऊपर बोला कि मतलब 9.5 आप लेके आते अगर आपको कोई पहले से बता देता, तो अगर आपके 9.5 आ जाता तो अभी आपके लाइफ की चेंज होती?
कुछ नहीं होती, ज़्यादा चेंज नहीं होती, मतलब आई स्टिल, हाँ लाइफ चेंज नहीं होती, मैं खुश होता ना, लाइक आई वुड हैव लाइक खुश रहो यार, अच्छी बात है, खुश रहो.
So this would be the last question, respecting sir's time.
अरे चलो, ये तीन लोग ने हाथ उठाया था ना, कौन कौन? आप और आप, चलो तीनों पूछ लो.
Like, do you think if we have an idea right now, so we should start working on the startup?
No, you should not. आप पहले काम कर लो 2-3 साल. Because startup is not about idea. Startup is also not about building a company. Startup is about understanding a customer and convincing that customer. ठीक है, आइडिया अगर 10 पैसे हैं तो बिल्डिंग अ कंपनी 1 रुपी है. सो जस्ट बिकॉज यू हैव एन आइडिया, यू डोंट हैव right to build a company, because there are 9 other things that you have to do to build a company. Idea is just 10% of that, not even 10, it's probably like 5% of that. Building a company means getting people to work with you. For them to work with you, they have to give up their other life options. You have to convince them that this is the best option they have. You have to actually make it worth it for them. You have to create an option where they make it better than their, उनकी मैकेंजी की जॉब से बेटर आपकी जॉब होनी चाहिए. है आपके पास वो बनाने का सोल्यूशन? So building a company is very hard, and if you don't know what constitutes a company, how will you ever build it? आपको HR पता है क्या है, आपको legal पता है क्या है, आपको product पता है क्या है, आपको marketing पता है क्या है. If you don't know any of these, you don't know how to build a company. So you first go learn how a company operates. Maybe then you will be able to build a company. And I'm telling you, building a company is 10% of the job. Understanding customer, selling to that customer, and convincing that customer that your product is the best product is your ultimate goal. So just because you have a company, your customer is not going to come to you. Hundreds of companies fail. Why? Because customers don't love. आपने साबुन बनाया, बिकेगा? कंपनी है आपकी, साबुन बन रहा है. Customer will not buy. वो जाके लक्स खरीदेगा. You have to convince the customer that your sabun is better than Lux. Just because you built a company is not sufficient for you to be successful. तो essentially आपको अगर 1 रुपी बनाना है और आपके पास आइडिया है, तो आइडिया आपका 1 पैसा है. So
Also, is coding important in college?
sorry,
Coding करना important है क्या?
बिल्कुल बहुत important है, बिल्कुल करना चाहिए coding. Everybody should learn to code. Like everybody should learn how to write code, because the future is going to be technology driven, and if you're not participant in that, हमारे टाइम पे तो like our time was also very competitive, and we still got around with like basic coding, because again, like nobody told me that coding was important. Everybody on campus hated coding, everybody, right? And everybody thought coding is not important. कौन जाके Infosys में काम करेगा? Because we thought coding was, working at Infosys or क्या होते हैं software IT companies वहाँ पर, right? So we thought कि बहुत boring है. We didn't do it, and we hampered our ability to learn to code. मेरे को थोड़ी बहुत आती है, but like I could have been a much better coder, and I got lucky because my co-founder was a very good coder, and between the two of us we were able to build stuff. But मान लो मेरा co-founder मेरे को नहीं मिलता, I wouldn't have been able to execute many of the things that I did. So coding is a superb skill that all of you should pick. It helps you think, it helps you think, logical thinking improve होती है, it helps you build, it gives you an opportunity to like actually see the stuff that you're building. So
what made you first startup to get acquired by another company?
sorry,
What made you first startup to get acquired by another company?
luck or bad luck. उस टाइम पे फंडिंग ड्राइड अप थी, एंड वी हैड टू either raise another round of funding or find a strategic buyer.
Was some sort of failure for you?
Yeah, वरना मैं भी सचिन बंसल जितना, actually सचिन बंसल भी if you ask him he'll say he's a failure because he exited the company when Flipkart was less than $10 billion in valuation, and he only made $1 billion. So like you will say, oh, 1 billion, he'll say I only made 1 billion of it, I am a failure.
Hello sir. Sir, in your first semester and in your last semester, you scored very less. But apart from that, you scored A. So sir, how?
लास्ट सेमेस्टर में किसने बोला? लास्ट सेमेस्टर में मेरी 10 है. हाँ.
You scored A grade, A square grade. So sir, how did you were into extracurriculars, culturals. So how you manage your time? Means you scored A as well as you were so much active in other activities. So how you?
तीन चीजें करो. 100% अटेंडेंस, 100%. 8:30 की भी क्लास, 9:30 की क्लास, 10:30 की क्लास, एवरी क्लास. प्रोफेसर बोर हो जाना चाहिए तुमको क्लास में देख कर, यार ये लड़का हर रोज आके वही सीट पे बैठता है, पूरे क्लास लगाता है. 100% अटेंडेंस, और क्लास में 100% अटेंशन. बिकॉज एनीवे वो 4 घंटे ही है क्लास के, 4 भी नहीं है, कितने होते हैं? 2-3 क्लास ही होती है ना दिन की.
It varies now. Like you can also have 5, 6 or 7 hours.
जो भी है लाइक लिमिटेड है, इट्स स्टिल.
Yeah.
क्योंकि मैं बता रहा हूँ ये लास्ट फेज है आपका इतने कम आवर्स काम करने वाला. जब यहाँ से जाओगे ना, फर्स्ट ईयर में तो बॉडी ही साथ नहीं देगी. आप लोगों को पता ही नहीं है कि 12 घंटे चेयर पे कैसे बैठना है, किसी को नहीं पता है. आपको जॉब में बोला जाएगा 12 घंटे इसी चेयर पे इस कंप्यूटर के सामने बैठना है, और आप किसी से नहीं होगा क्योंकि आप लोगों को 12 घंटे बैठना आता ही नहीं है चेयर पे. मैक्सिमम आप लोग 4 घंटे बैठे हो चेयर पे. ठीक है, एनीवे बैक टू योर थिंग. सारी क्लास लगाओ और उस क्लास में 100% अटेंशन दे दो. स्मार्ट तो आप ऑलरेडी हो, यहाँ पहुँचो मतलब स्मार्ट हो, तो आपको अब्जॉर्ब करना तो आता है. बस इंटेंशन का गैप है. अगर आपके पास इंटेंशन हो कि भाई I have come to this class to listen to what this prof is teaching me, अपने आप सीख लोगे. 80% वहीं पर डन हो जाता है. और इतने स्मार्ट होते हो कि एक बार पढ़ लेते हो तो 4 महीने तो याद रखने हैं आपको. 4 महीने में सेमेस्टर खत्म, तो वो कौन सा ज़िंदगी भर याद रखना है, इतना सीख लोगे आप. सेकंड, एग्ज़ाम से एक दिन पहले, 2 दिन पहले ज़बरदस्त फुल कंसंट्रेशन के साथ पढ़ लो, और तीसरा प्रीवियस पेपर करके जाओ। बस इतना ही काम करना है आपको। इतने पे आपकी 9 तो आ जाएगी, CPI 9 हो जाएगी इससे। 9, 8.5 तो 8.5 तो मेरी है यार, इतने पे तो आपकी तो 9 आ जाएगी। प्रीवियस पेपर कर लो, एग्जाम से पहले 1 रात 2 रात ज़बरदस्त दबा के फुल कंसंट्रेशन। उस टाइम पे मस्ती में, उस टाइम पे एक एपिसोड फ्रेंड्स का देख लेता हूँ, ये नेटफ्लिक्स का एक देख लेता हूँ, एक वीडियो गेम थोड़ी देर, आधे घंटे बाद पढ़ाई करूँगा, है ना, थोड़ी देर सो जाता हूँ, आधा घंटा सोता हूँ, फिर उठ के पढ़ लूँगा। वो मत करो बस। ऐसा ही सही सवाल है, लास्ट में पूछा यार। डन?
So let's conclude this session. Thank you so much, sir, for taking the time out of your busy schedule. We at SARC would also like to thank the Dean ACR office for providing such a golden opportunity of conducting CEO Connect. And now I would request you to present a check to the winners of the events Bizarro and Marketing Magnet conducted by SARC.
Okay.
So, for the Bizarros, the first prize goes to the Uncertainty Store. Any member from the Uncertainty Store?
Congrats, क्या बनाया तुमने? 80,000 रुपये मिल गए सीधे। हाँ? Congrats.
Next, we have Pitchmasters 101. Any member from Pitchmasters 101? Okay, then let's move forward. The winning teams for Marketing Magnet are Team Brand Builders. Anyone from Team Brand Builders?
Congrats.
And the second place was backed by Team Miracle Marketers from IIT Madras. Now, I request the 4 team members, Muskan Bhutra and Nikhil Tiwari, to come up on stage and present the memento. A big round of applause.
Thank you.
It was a great session.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was an insightful session.
Thank you. Okay, डिनर कर लो, मैस बंद हो गई है।
नहीं सर, 10 तक।
10 तक चल रही है आजकल। Okay.